Surprise, motherfucker.
Okay, YouTube. It is another rebuild video for the 1969 Travelier. Been going hard at it all day. Made some additions to it as well. I got the deep cycle marine battery and 3 15-watt solar panels. It's the beginning of the Harbor Freight series when they first came out with them. It's the glass on top and the aluminum edges. And I got that set right there for $45. Basically, I put an ad in the wanted section of Craigslist, and a guy contacted me and said that his wife, her now deceased and ex-husband, was heavy into solar panels and using the power as ham radios, and these were just sitting in the garage, and he was tired of seeing them because they just reminded him that his wife at one time was married. So, you know, he let me have them for $45, which is a steal because it's basically almost a $300 setup. Okay, so you saw the outside, and now you can see the inside. I might have went a little overboard on the spray foam, but you can never have enough spray foam. The worst you have to do is just file it down, saw it down, throw it out, no big deal. But either way, a lot of insulation is better than no insulation. The bottom there in the corner, I had to go ahead and cut a couple small pieces of 2x4 and just go ahead and jam them in there and brace them in. Just hopefully it'll go ahead and help to keep the form at the bottom. The floor is a little weak in that corner, but there's no sense because I'll probably have to make like a 5-inch patch, and it's not going to get any worse, it's not going to get any better, it just looks the same underneath the floor. I mean, you don't see it spreading, you don't see it doing anything else. Rot's like the worst thing in the world for a plywood floor, but 5 inches, I'd rather it be a foot, it'd be easier to replace, I could square it off. That, I can't even put my foot through, it doesn't matter. Alright, and over here, if you recall how much light was getting in, how separated it was. Now we're getting it all back together again. I gotta go ahead and saw out that old water intake pipe because I'm not going to be doing that. I'll probably just have an onboard water tank I'll fill whenever I'm somewhere with free water. Probably a 7-gallon or a 15-gallon, something like that. I'm not going to go ahead and use like carpenter strapping that put a tank on the bottom of the camper or a tiny house or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It doesn't have a name yet. Conception, inception, same thing. Get me? But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really going to have anything like bottom. I'm not going to have any running water pipes. I don't want to deal with something freezing in the middle of winter. If I want to go camping or if I just park this thing in the backyard and then my floor is ruined and I have a giant mess on my hands come spring, I don't want to do it. I want to rebuild this thing one time and one time only. And right now, I've got it back to form. I've got it sturdy. I've got it foamed up. I've got the rotten wood cut out. I've got the walls reformed. And no light is getting in, which is telling me that we've got a pretty good seal going so far. So now I just got to keep on trucking and start getting my styrofoam insulation put up. Now I got to clean up some of this fucking floor. Ugh, shit's terrible looking. Okay. Notice I got my little work light in here. It's actually a floodlight. I just wired it up to go ahead and work on an extension cord. Sure, you're not supposed to, but I did anyway. That corner right there that I'm pointing at, I probably will not be able to insulate, so I'm just going to get some spray foam and just spray the shit out of it. The rest of the stuff, the styrofoam, is going rather smoothly. I mean, there's a lot of gaps and stuff because I'm just basically making rough pieces of it, and I'll go ahead and pack it with my leftovers and fix it with my foil tape, and it'll look pretty uniform when I'm done. The spray foam itself is seeping out everywhere. That's going to be a bitch to go ahead and clean up and cut out tomorrow when I try to put on some paneling. But, I mean, there's a considerable difference inside of it already. I'm standing outside right now while I'm filming this, and I can go ahead and stick my arm inside the camper and feel an immediate, like, 8-9 degrees warmer than with my body being outside the camper. So, I mean, this is working, and it's having a very positive effect. And before, the insulation and stuff was just fiberglass, and it was really thin. It was pretty bad, actually. So, I mean, today we got all the walls rebuilt, and we got the actual shell back on, all the aluminum screwed back together. Whole skin is now uniform, and it actually looks like it's supposed to. And now we're putting more insulation in. probably stop here in about 45 minutes and put all my supplies back in here. I've been going at this probably for a solid 9 hours. Dinner breaks, poop breaks, and everything else notwithstanding. I keep going, I'll probably get construction workers' diarrhea. Yeah, it's a real phenomenon. I've worked construction a few times. But anyway, it's all recycled stuff. I think I've got less than $1,000 in this whole thing, including the power, like the solar power and the generator and all my furniture that you saw previously. I'll have to actually add it up in a month when it's all said and done. Pretty sure I'll barely break 900 though, which would be kind of cool. But it's coming together. It's about as insulated as it's going to get. Some more spray foam, and then paneling. Okay, paneling's coming together. It's been a minute since I've cut plywood with a jigsaw, so yeah, you're going to see a few curves and a few sloppy turns. But once I trim this all up and put a couple 2x4 wedges in the mix, it should equal out pretty good. Now notice the actual pattern on the plywood. You can go ahead and see how it goes up and down, and then you got the horizontal. Yeah. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm just going to paint the whole thing with like a heavy coat of white paint when it's all said and done. And you won't really be able to tell where the lines actually run, whether they be vertical or horizontal. I mean, it's plywood, and I'm going to need another sheet, and it's not even going to match the sheets I have. So basically, my only alternative at the end of this is just to paint all the shit and make sure it's all trimmed out nicely. And I can get trim for like 25 cents a piece, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, it's coming together. Still got to get some more spray foam in there too. Okay, this is the side of the camper. Let's get that figured out first. And then this was where it was detached down the entire fucking wall. All the aluminum, all the wood was rotten and everything. And now it's attached again. I cannot believe how smooth and how well this actually went for me. Nothing is ever this easy for me. But anyway, what I used were aluminum head 2-inch pole barn screws with rubber gaskets. I don't know how well you can see, but I figured the rubber gaskets would stop from leaking, the aluminum would stop from rusting, and the 2 inches would be enough to at least sink it all in. And now it looks better than when it was factory. Just kind of badass. I mean, a layer of caulk or ceiling tar, and this bitch is almost waterproof and airtight all the way down one side, which probably hasn't been this way in 5 to 10 years. Pretty badass.